Someone asked me the other day which specialist weapon was the all-around best for destroying Scorestreaks. To be honest, I wasn't really sure how to respond to it. I had a vague idea of how many shots from each specialist weapon it took to take out some of the Scorestreaks, but definitely not all of them. I told him I'd investigate it and I'd get back with him. Now I remember when Black Ops 3 first came out. Not a lot of people even knew that the specialist weapons could take out Scorestreaks. Gradually though, more and more people caught on, and now it's likely common knowledge. However, as anyone still playing Black Ops 3 should be aware, changes are always occurring. For instance, you used to be able to take out a RAPS deploy ship almost instantly with Reaper's Scythe. This is not the case anymore. Likewise, you could down a mothership with no effort whatsoever with the Annihilator, and now it's a bit more difficult. I looked around and did a few searches, but as far as I can tell, no other YouTuber has documented all the Scorestreaks versus all the specialist weapons. And I don't blame them either. It's a lot of work. There's 9 specialist characters, and there's 18 Scorestreaks in the game. Even with 5 other people helping you out, that's a lot of testing. If you've been a fan of my channel for a while, you'll know that I'm always up for a challenge if it provides meaningful data to the community. So let's go over the results I found. First of all, I need to note that I'll only be going over from the Guardian on up in detail. I'll tell you right now that every specialist weapon in the game can take out the HCXD car effortlessly. Of the 4 long-range weapons, which include the Sparrow, the Scythe, the Tempest, and the Annihilator, they all can take out a UAV in one hit as well. All of those can take out a counter UAV in one hit too, except for the Sparrow, which for some reason takes 2 hits. I excluded the Carepackage from my findings, as well as the Dart, the Lightning Strike, and the Hellstorm. The Dart is just too hard to hit with most specialist weapons since it's never stationary. Now that's not to say you can't hit it, but the chances are slim to none, so it's not worthwhile or practical to know the exact details. The same also holds true for the Hellstorm, and no specialist weapon can take out a Lightning Strike either. As for the Rolling Thunder, yes, several weapons can take it out, but it's quite difficult. The best bet was the Scythe, but it was eventually nerfed into oblivion. Several YouTubers did videos on how to rack up a lot of points instantly with this. That's most likely the reason it was changed. The Scythe is still optimal, but it's now more difficult to do. So now for the more important results. Here's my overall findings. I'm going to be going over in detail a lot of the more important aspects here, so don't be discouraged if you don't get a chance to soak in all the data at once. If the weapon shoots projectiles, I counted how many it took. If it shoots bullets like the Scythe or it does anything else, I just measured if it could destroy a streak in one full usage. So let's start with the first 3 streaks. The Guardian, the Sentry Gun, and the Cerberus. These are the 3 streaks you'll likely see the most when you play multiplayer, simply because they're the easiest to obtain. You should notice that there's 4 weapons that excel at taking these 3 streaks out. The Gravity Spikes, the War Machine, the Scythe, and the Ripper. Now of these, the Gravity Spikes and the War Machine are almost instantaneous. I should note that it must be a direct impact with the War Machine for a one-shot kill. Yes, the Scythe and the Ripper can also take all 3 of these streaks out pretty quickly, but nowhere near as instant as the War Machine or Gravity Spikes. Not to mention with the Ripper you have to get right next to the streak. There's only one weapon that can't destroy all 3 of these streaks, and that's the Purifier. One thing I wanted to point out was the odd discrepancy between these 3 streaks when it comes to destroying them, in particular with the Sparrow and the Tempest. So they both take 2 shots to take out a Guardian, and then they both take 3 shots to take out a Sentry Gun. However, when it comes to the Cerberus, the Sparrow takes 4 shots, and rightfully so, as the Cerberus is obviously a step up from the Sentry Gun. It went from 2 to 3 to 4 as the streak got higher. Why then does the Tempest take less shots to take out a Cerberus than it does a Sentry Gun? That doesn't make much sense to me. Or why does the H.I.V.E. destroy all 3 of these streaks in the same amount of pods, but most other weapons take more usage the higher up the streak? I think this is very strange. Next up is the Talon. This thing is the HCXD of mid-tier streaks. It's a pussy willow to say the least. Every specialist weapon in the game, including the Purifier, can take this thing out almost instantly. Next is the Wraith. There's only 4 weapons that can hit it. And of these, the Tempest, Annihilator, and Scythe are the best. I excluded the Sparrow because it's 2 more shots than the others, and it's much more difficult to cold cock a fast-moving Wraith with an arrow. The Wraith is a very common mid-tier Scorestreak, so it'd be wise to know which of these weapons counters it the best. Now perhaps the biggest surprise to me in all my testing is the changes secretly made to the Hater. If you weren't aware, the Hater used to be able to be taken out by the Sparrow, the Annihilator, the Scythe, and the Tempest. Now, however, none of these weapons can damage it. It's completely immune to specialist weapons. I think most people will agree with this change, but since launchers can take them out, I can see why some people would argue against this. I don't recall reading any updates about the Hater being buffed though, but my testing clearly shows that this thing is no longer able to be hit. Next up is the Wraith's deploy ship. And talk about a pain in the butt. I did a challenge help guide on this exact thing. For the Area Denied challenge, you have to destroy the Wraith ship before it drops any drones. There's only 3 viable specialist weapons to destroy a Wraith ship: the Sparrow, the Tempest, and the Annihilator. Now of these, the Tempest shoots the fastest and is the easiest to aim, but the Annihilator is right up there with it too. As was the case with the Wraith, the Sparrow just takes too long, and of course it doesn't help that it requires one more shot than the other two. Of note, the Scythe can no longer destroy a Wraith's deploy ship by itself in one full use. So what was once one of the best ways to finish this challenge is now no longer a viable strategy. And this is thanks to the countless buffs the ship received to its health. The next score streak will likely give challenge seekers terrible nightmares. I also did a challenge guide on the Powered Down challenge where you have to destroy 5 power cores. However, upon testing these a second time for this video, I noticed a few changes. First of all, only 2 streaks can't take out a power core on their own: the Gravity Spikes and the Purifier. Every other weapon actually excels against the power core. It must be noted that you can only use a specialist weapon against a power core if you have the Hardwired perk equipped. Otherwise, it won't work unless you happen to whip it out before the power core is called in. So there's 4 weapons that work best: the War Machine, the H.I.V.E, the Scythe, and the Ripper. The War Machine is actually the best, as it only takes 2 shots, and again, these have to be direct impact shots. In terms of how long it takes to destroy, the War Machine wins here too. It only takes 0.78 seconds to destroy a power core with 2 direct impact shots. It takes the Ripper 1.85 seconds, the Scythe 2.27 seconds, and the H.I.V.E takes 3 seconds. All of these are extremely fast considering the power core is such a high score streak. Now if you saw my Powered Down video, you may be asking why the Gravity Spikes no longer works. And it would appear that they buffed the power core slightly. It used to be that if you destroyed all of the panels on the power core, it would then be destroyed by a single Gravity Spike instantly. Now, however, this is not the case. So even after 2 Gravity Spikes, the power core remains. Do not use the Gravity Spikes against it. Next to last, we have the GI unit. This is actually one of the stronger score streaks in the game, and it definitely shows. There's 3 viable options against it: the War Machine, the Scythe, and the Ripper. I was actually blown away by how fast the Scythe took care of this sucker. It was way faster than I had even imagined. The Ripper locks onto the GI unit like an actual enemy, but again, you have to get right in its face. And without Cold-Blooded, this likely won't be feasible. Lastly, let's talk about the supposed king of score streaks, the Mothership. Only 3 specialist weapons can take this out in one use: the Annihilator, the Tempest, and the Sparrow. As was the case with the Wraith, the Tempest shoots fastest out of these 3 and conveniently takes the least amount of ammo. Now since the Mothership is massive and hard to miss, this gives the Sparrow a little bit of leverage here. Normally I'd say it's much harder to hit streaks with an arrow. The ammo capacity of the Sparrow is also a bonus. You'll have 10 shots total and you're allowed to miss 4. Compare this to the Annihilator, which only has 6 shots total, so you'll have to hit all 6 of those shots. And the Tempest, by the way, has 8 shots total, so you can miss up to 2. Now let me quickly go over a few awards for the specialist weapons. First up, the Wank on the Cob award. This clearly goes to the Purifier. Against score streaks, this thing is atrocious. It takes almost an entire clip to destroy even the Guardian. And the same is true for the Sentry Gun. Not only this, it can't destroy the Cerberus or any streak higher than the Wraith at all. So out of the 18 score streaks in the game, this can only take out 4 of them. Clearly, this is the absolute worst specialist weapon to use for anything other than killing actual enemies. Avoid this at all costs if your goal is to take out score streaks. Next, the Newbie Booby award. This goes to the Gravity Spikes. A noob's wet dream, this can instantly take out 4 of the most common mid-tier streaks. Not only this, it's also possible to take out more than 1 at a time due to the blast radius. However, its weakness is that it can't take out anything past a talent, at all. So if you're playing against skilled players that may call in the higher streaks, the gravity spikes won't help you much. The Hulk Hogan award goes to the War Machine. Seriously, if you want brute strength against Scorestreaks, this sucker has 24-inch pythons. With a direct impact, it can crumble most streaks in one hit. But it also boasts the fastest destroying time of the power core, which is very impressive. It does have a slight disadvantage in that it can't hit anything airborne other than a talent. But if ground-based streaks are prevalent, this thing will rid of them all in no time flat. The Sixth Man award had a tie for me. Both the H.I.V.E. and the Scythe impressed me greatly. Now I know that the Scythe has been nerfed into the ground since launch, but its quickness and power against most Scorestreaks was a pleasant surprise. The fact that it can also take out at least some of the airborne streaks makes it a decent option as well. Now the H.I.V.E. packs a punch too, but it's limited in its ammo capacity of just 5 pods. Still, most streaks will die in under 3, which is more than beneficial if you find yourself confronted with something such as a Cerberus or a power core. Now the Jack of all trades award has a 3-way tie. The Tempest, the Sparrow, and the Annihilator. All 3 of these weapons are extremely versatile. Not only can they take out all airborne streaks except for the Hater, they also all hold their own against ground-based streaks as well. If I had to pick a best one out of these 3, it'd be the Tempest. It takes out the Cerberus and the Mothership in less shots than the other 2, and it loses to neither of these weapons in any other category. It has 8 shots total, it's fairly easy to use, and it can be used safely from a distance. Lastly, the Underdog award goes to the Ripper. The fact that this specialist weapon can be earned 2 to 3 times before you earn any other weapon is remarkable. If you couple that with the fact that it can destroy every ground-based streak in one use, it's even more awe-inspiring. The obvious drawback is that you have to get right in the streak's face for it to be practical. So if you're going to be destroying streaks with the Ripper, I highly recommend cold-blooded so that you're not targeted. The best part about the Ripper is that it has unlimited usage in one life. Now what I mean by that is you can swing away without worry of your meter decreasing. With other specialist weapons, when you shoot a projectile, your meter drops significantly. But this is not the case with the Ripper. And most people don't seem to realize this and cautiously swing only when they're near something or someone. What you should be doing is swinging like a raving lunatic with your wang out at everything in your path. With this knowledge, it's possible to destroy as many streaks as you see fit in one life. Watch here as I pulverize 3 top Scorestreaks effortlessly. Can you imagine destroying all 3 of these streaks in an actual public match? The owner would be absolutely irate. And that's the power this Underdog specialist weapon possesses. Now I realize a video of this magnitude likely would have been way more beneficial at the beginning of Black Ops 3 lifecycle, but I usually do my videos based on requests, and this was not requested until just recently. Still, as I mentioned, with all the changes that happen throughout a game's lifecycle, it's nice to know what the current results are, and this is as current as it gets. So if you ever find yourself face to face with a Scorestreak and you have a specialist weapon available, this video should help you overcome the situation and reign supreme.